Alright guys, I wanted to take a little time to show you how to install software, or in other words, set up your computer for your computer. I want to focus on the MacBook. So I got a MacBook right here. And so the first thing we need to do is find our instructions. So if you go to our website, barnabasrobotics.com, and you go to here, and we go to here, curriculum, we can find Barnabas Learning Portal. So let's go ahead and click there. And that's going to take us to this wonderful curriculum portal, this learning portal where we have all our instructions. So you want to find your project. This one we're going to be looking at Barnabas-Bot. So we click on Barnabas-Bot, and then we're going to scroll down all the way down to lesson number 6, which is set up your computer. So I click on that. There we go. And here are all the instructions for setting up your computer. Here's some instructions here, some overview info about how to do this, how to set up your computer. And we're actually doing something called setting up our IDE, which is a fancy word of saying a tool for software engineers. And then here is when we branch off. So depending on what type of computer you have, it's going to take you to different sets of instructions. So if you have a Chromebook, a MacBook, or a PC, it'll take you to different spots. Now we're talking about MacBook right now. So let's click on MacBook, and here are your instructions. So what we're going to do here, this is a step-by-step instruction set to show you how to download what's called a .pkg file. You're going to download that from the internet, and then you're going to run that .pkg file to install the IDE onto your MacBook. So a couple checkpoints before we get started. Number one is make sure that your MacBook is powered on and it's fully charged, so there's a lot of battery, or it's charging. The reason you want that is that you don't want your computer to just shut down in the middle of installing the IDE. Okay? And the other thing is make sure you have internet. If you don't have internet, you're not going to be able to download the .pkg file from the internet. You won't be able to access it. Okay? So make sure you have those two things. And then we move on. It talks about the terminal here, so you can read that. The terminal is basically a really cool tool that allows you to send direct commands to your MacBook. And so we want to give you a little taste of that, because that's what real software engineers do. All right, so you can read that as well. Now, step 1 says login. All right, so this is kind of important. Actually, not. It's very important. Okay, so when you log into your MacBook, when you first turn it on, you may have different profiles. Sometimes a parent will have a profile. The kids might have a profile. You want to make sure when you log into a profile that has administrative privileges. It's just a fancy way of saying it's a master account, or it's a profile that allows you to make changes to your computer. A lot of times the child profile does not allow you to make changes like to install new software. So if that's the case, you'll need to change it to a parent profile. Okay. If you're not sure which one, I would just pick the parent profile or the profile of the person who set up the computer. Okay. Usually that one has administrative privileges, and so they're able to make changes to the computer. All right. So once you've done that, and now I've already logged into a administrative profile, so I'm good here. But once you've done that, then you go to step 2, open the terminal. So we have to do this command space to get this search bar that we show here to show up. Now, before I start this, let's go ahead and minimize, or not minimize. Let's make this smaller. So I'm going to click here like this, and then you can kind of size it. The reason I want to do that is that I can see the instructions and then also still do stuff on the computer on this side, because you're going to need to refer back and forth. Okay, so it's good to kind of do a split screen here. So once I do that, let's go back to step 2. It says command space. So I'm going to press command space on my keyboard, and then the spotlight search thing comes up, and then the next thing it says type terminal. So I type terminal here, and then I see the top hit right here with this black. So I'm going to double click. Let's double click on here, and then your terminal comes up. So here we go. Here's that super cool software engineering tool where we can send commands directly to your MacBook. Okay, so now we're gonna go down. It says download the installer. So what is the super secret cool command we got to send? It's right here in this blue. So two ways you could do it. You could try to copy it. So you click like there and then highlight the whole thing. And then you kind of double click and say copy. Now it's copied. And then you go over here and then click here again, like the double click or two finger click, I guess what it's called. And then you can say paste. And then what it does is it took exactly what's there and then put it there. Now, that's kind of like the easy way to do it, and then you just press enter on your keyboard and it will start downloading. But I like to practice typing, and so if you're brave enough, go ahead and you can do what I do. We can just try to copy exactly what we see here. Now, a couple things as we type. You want to make sure you're very detail oriented. Every space, you see there's spaces here, and you see there's capitals and there are lowercase. You got to make sure they all match. So this capital L here, you got to make sure it's capital. If you put a lowercase l, it's not going to work. If you if you forget a space, it's not going to work. Okay, so it's a really good typing exercise. You got to get it exact. So curl space dash capital L space dash lowercase o space and then Barnabas.pkg. Make sure you spell that correctly. Now Barnabas.pkg, just so you know, that is the name of the .pkg file. So we got to put that in there. Then you go space and then you say go.barnabasrobotics.com/pkg. Now this go.barnabasrobotics.com/pkg, that is the website, or they call it the web URL of where the Barnabas.pkg is. Okay. All right. So I think everything is good. I got it typed in there. So I press enter on my keyboard, and then it starts downloading. So you get this screen that comes out. Depending on the speed of your internet, it'll take maybe 10 seconds, up to a minute, 2 minutes. Could be longer if you have a slower internet connection at the time. So mine's already done. It took me about 10 seconds. You'll see it says 54.8 M. So that means my .pkg file was 54.8 megabytes. We're good. Now it's installed. Let's go down. Let's go down. And we're going to say now step 4. We are going to run the installer. So as I mentioned, we have to first download the .pkg onto your MacBook. So it's just downloaded, but we haven't run the installer yet. So we have to download the installer, then we run the installer, and once you do that, it actually will put the software IDE onto your MacBook. So the way we do that, this command right here. Now this one's a little tricky because of this slash here. I'll explain that. So go ahead, we'll type it in again. Sudo space installer space dash pkg space Barnabas.pkg space dash target. And then you might be tempted to put the slash there, but there's a space there and then a slash, and then we're done. So don't forget that space there. And then also something that people might get mixed up, maybe you think it's that slash. So that's not the right slash. It's got to be, it's called the / this direction. Okay? So let's double check everything. Sudo installer dash space.pkg space Barnabas.pkg dash target space slash. Okay, I'm going to press enter, and then it's going to then install. Okay, so it's trying to do the thing. Now it says password. The reason it says password, right now your MacBook is saying, I want to make sure you are who you say you are. So what's the password of the profile? So I know my password, so make sure you know, if you're able to log in to the profile, then you know the password. So use that same password. So I'm going to type my password in. And it has this special thing where it doesn't really show you what you're typing because it doesn't want other people to, if they're looking over your shoulder, to know what you're typing. So just don't get freaked out. As you type, you're not going to see stuff on the screen. But go ahead and type in your password, and then once you're done, press return or enter, and then watch. It says package name is Art Barnabas. It's upgrading path, upgrade successful. So now you're done. So let's go down. There, going. And then let's delete the installer. The reason we want to delete the installer is because we downloaded the installer before. We ran the installer, so then now your IDE is installed. Now you don't need the installer anymore, so you can save room on your computer. We don't need it. So let's do rm space barnabas.pkg, because that's the name of the installer. We press enter, and then it just comes back and says that, guys, we are done. We're set up. So if we go down to step 6, this is where you find your IDE. Barnabas is called our Barnabas Ardublock. So let's do that. Go to Finder. It's this happy face guy. Finder. Okay. And then it says go to Applications. So we go to Applications. And then you're going to find Barnabas Ardublock, which is going to be this one right here. Once you see that, you're good to go. That means you successfully installed it. I'm going to go ahead and click on it to kind of show you what it looks like. All right. I might ask you for, do you want notifications? Sure, why not? Okay, and then you're going to see this screen right here, and then you are good to go. So that means in the future, when you connect your Barnabas-Bot, you can you have your IDE set up. All right. If you have any questions, you can click on the support link or contact us. We're happy to help you out, but hopefully this will be helpful to you guys who are using the Macbooks with Barnabas-Bot and some of our other projects. All right, we'll talk to you later.